So on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you right now?
It's like 11. I'm so happy. We're at a new restaurant that just opened in Austin called Kula that sends all your food on a conveyor belt. And then there's also, you can order stuff on the screen. You don't have to talk to anyone. And it comes out. See, look at this. I ordered some ramen, some little baby ramen on the conveyor belt. Yep, that's yours. We ate 15 plates of sushi, and because we did that,
It encouraged us to eat more sushi.
Yeah, this tells you to eat more sushi. Every time you eat 5 plates of sushi, it plays more of a story for you, and once you eat 15 plates of sushi, then it beats the giant snake and saves the world, and it gives you an apple to say thank you for your help.
From there,
I got little puppy stickers.
of cats and sushi.
Cats and sushi. You know what this looks like? It's a sushi version of Kappa. Sushi cat.
Sushi. Catfish.
Catfish. Catfish. I'm so happy.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Hey guys, a more relaxed vlog this week. There's no major adventure to show. But the big thing for me this week is that I have been relocating to Los Angeles. So I'm starting a new project and I wanted to be able to relocate to really focus on this thing. That I was talking with Matt and I said, hey, how would you feel if I went off to LA for a couple months? I'll be in LA, stay there probably through RTX. I'll be here for E3 as well. So it just kind of makes sense to come out here. And he said, go for it. We have the Funhouse offices here. We have everything with full screen here. So yeah, relocating to a new city has been interesting. I figured it out to where I have been in Austin exclusively for about 25 years, which doesn't even, when I say it out loud, doesn't seem like that's even possible to, that I've been somewhere for 25 years. Since I'm moving and that's taking up so much of my time, I'm not gonna have, this ability to do all these huge epic drone shots or anything like that. Except for that one, which doesn't even make sense. I think that was New Zealand. I don't know why that would be in this at all. Oh, but I've been doing this thing where, there's this thing I've been doing. It's been in vlogs all along, but I've really kind of broken open the technique on it, where I do tilt shift shots. And for the intro for this vlog, there was actually a construction site that's right outside this window. It's that effect where you have an image that makes everything from real life look like it's a miniature, like something that's like a stop motion, like Lego. But I do that with this lens right here. This is a tilt shift lens. It's primarily used for architectural photos where they want to get a super wide angle, but they don't want to get that distortion that happens with a wide angle lens, especially when they have to tilt up on a tripod. And so what they'll do is they'll focus with this, and then they will use the shift function. It actually looks more dramatic on a camera, because what I'm actually doing, it looks like I'm moving this piece at the end, but this is the part attached to the camera, moves the entire lens up and down. But then if you use the tilt function, let me show you that here. So I can tilt the lens both up and down. That tilt allows me to have a depth of field that tricks the eye, tricks the mind into thinking it's looking at something that's much, much smaller than it is. And I've always loved those shots. I've always tried to find a way to do them. And I had a breakthrough this last week where I've had this lens, but I wasn't quite getting exactly what I needed out of it. So I spent an entire weekend and just worked with the tilt shift lens, did some stuff in post-production. And so, bottom line is, I hope you like tilt shift shots because you're gonna be seeing a lot more of them. I would recommend you look at some post-production stuff, look at what you can do in After Effects if you're interested in this. There's lots of tutorials how you can kind of emulate the effect. And then if you really want to use it a lot, you can invest in a lens to save yourself some time because rendering those shots takes a while. Let's go get some coffee. I'm pretty dark. There we go. Hey, look at you. Since I've been spending so much time this week with personal life stuff, I thought this would be a great week to talk about how I stay motivated and organized. And what that means is, over the course of 15 years, I've had to stay inspired to work on lots of different stuff all the time. Movies, podcasts, vlogs. The ability to stay inspired to do those things usually people will attribute that to motivation. They'll say, how do I stay motivated? How do I get motivated to do this? And I was on a panel last year at VidCon, and it was a really cool panel. It was me and John Green and Hannah Hart and Lily Singh and Casey Neistat. It was an amazing panel. And somebody asked that question, how do you stay motivated? And I gave an answer that I think was fairly unpopular at the time, which is, I don't believe in motivation. I don't think that motivation is something that actually exists, and I don't think it's something that you can cultivate, because motivation is a emotional component of inspiration. I read this really great post on Reddit one time that said, motivation is fickle. You have to cultivate discipline in order to get stuff done. Motivation is not something that you can force, it's not something you can get, it's something you just have to have, and it comes to you on its own volition. And that by cultivating discipline, by working on things even when you don't want to, that's how you can get things done over a long period of time. And that's so much more reliable than the emotional component of motivation. The trick, they said, is not figuring out how to get motivation. The trick is figuring out how to work without it. Y'all have any, no more of those ham croissants? I might have eaten all of them over the course of a week.
You ate all of them?
I think we might have.
I really like School of Life. School of Life is this dude, and he it's like this kind of short, talks about like psychology. It's really fascinating.
Veritasium, and then there's Vsauce as well. Those are great. Smarter Every Day is another one that I love, but he's all like more science, like hardcore science, you know? Less philosophical, less psychological stuff.
Oh, he said that avocado toast is the reason like millennials can't buy a home. Yeah.
So then, what does discipline look like? Well, for me, discipline looks like lists. Lots and lots of to-do lists. I always want to make sure that I'm working on what I need to be working on every single day. So I make recurring to-do lists. I actually use a program called Todoist, not an ad. And I use that to give me a short list of things that I should be getting done every single day. And then I can add individual things to it that come up during that particular moment of my life. You know, one of the things that can be tough, and one of the reasons I have to have lists is because things come up all the time. Like this week, I've got to go to this Destiny event that's going to last all day. That's going to eat up an entire day, and it's going to be great, but that's stuff I'm going to eat into my normal routine of production. So I like to keep my to-do lists very routine and stick to them every single day. The other part of my organizational strategy that I use is a methodology called streaks, and there's a lot of apps for this as well. And I learned this from an interview with Jerry Seinfeld, where he said that he wants to write every day for his comedy routines and how to develop them. And the way that he does that is he puts a calendar on his wall, and every day he writes, and then he puts a little X on the days that he writes. And then when he builds up enough of those X's, he doesn't want to break the streak. And so I do that on my iPhone. I have a little app called Streaks, and I can use that app to take the things that are truly, really important, things I want to keep going over a long period of time, like writing or shooting or things like that. And I can make sure I build calendars for those, and I'm building up my streak. And trust me, when you get to 115 days of doing something, on that 116th day when it's hard to get out of bed and you don't have motivation and it doesn't exist, it's that discipline and that reluctance to give up on 115 previous days that's going to get you to do that thing that day. Reading an article about the unending power of the human spirit and the infinite possibilities of the human mind, that's not going to be the thing that gets me to get out of bed and work on something. It really isn't. That's an emotional thing. And if I don't connect with that emotional thing that day, in that moment, guess what? I don't have my motivation that I think that I need to get something done. You know, and that doesn't have to apply to just, you know, production work or career or anything like that, or whatever that you do. It also applies to family and relationships and any personal goals you have as well. And what I've discovered over time is that instead of relying on motivation every single day to get stuff done, if I can rely on discipline, then what I find is I make that emotional connection to that thing that I'm doing, I get invested in it, and then what I'm doing is I'm building motivation instead of relying on it. All right, so fun things this weekend. I hope I can show you some of the Destiny 2 stuff I'm doing later this week as well here in LA. Next week should be a little nuts. See you guys then.